Hey everyone, and welcome back to the You Good Homie podcast. This is episode 24. And in this episode, and a special shout out to my partner Avi for the topic of the episode today. We will be talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated version. So with the recent release of the Netflix live action, we thought this would be a good idea to kind of reminisce on the animated version, something that we all grew up watching. Talk about some of the themes that the show covered, how it relates to our own life, how we can relate to some of the characters, and how it can relate to some of the current events that the world is experiencing right now, as well as give our thoughts on the live action version. So hope you guys enjoy the episode. Follow our socials for clips and updates, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the You Good Homie podcast.
Hey,
and we got a special guest today.
hey,
Beacon, and introduce yourself.
My name's Beacon.
a little bit more about yourself.
I was born in the Philippines. Wait, what do you mean?
I don't know. You just introduce yourself, like you're introducing yourself to the audience.
Oh, my name's Beacon, and I live in this apartment complex.
Yes.
Nice,
Thank you for letting us use your place. We
Nice.
very much appreciate it.
nice. This is also my place. If you guys didn't know.
Okay, so today we are talking. It's gonna be a little bit of an unorthodox episode because today we aren't really talking about any themes particularly, but we want to talk about a favorite show. What's
Their favorite
What's
show.
yeah
Our favorite show.
our favorite show?
Our
Soviet Bugs Bunny. Yeah. Vince, what show is that?
It is Avatar: The Way of Water. Just kidding. It's
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Woo. Goated show.
Yeah, I think this show is like my favorite show of all time. I don't think I've really watched a show that's really topped it.
Yeah.
Though I have watched a lot of fun media, but I think the reason we want to talk about, because there's a lot of themes that are pretty interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
And also with the recent live action that just came out, it'd be a perfect time to have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I grew up with this show. I remember like the people who were babysitting me after school in fucking elementary,
Hey.
and then we would just watch it at their house. Goated show.
Yeah.
I guess to start off the episode, we've all watched the live action. Like,
Nice.
what do you guys think versus the original?
As a person,
I mean, we're not talking about the was it M Night Shyamalan?
M. Night Shyamalan?
Chill. That one was fire.
Ong.
It's the best one.
I mean,
Ong!
I think unanimously, I think people can agree that that's the bad one, and that just objectively it's just not good compared
It's
to
not.
the show or even the live action Netflix series. In my opinion, the Netflix live action series, I didn't hate it. I was kind of explaining off the record that I liked the first 4 episodes. Episode 2, that was the one with the Kyoshi War. That one I really loved. I thought it was really well acted. I thought the actors that played Sokka and what's the Kyoshi War? Suki did an amazing job. I would say I wasn't really a fan of the ending because they just added some weird plot points that weren't really necessary, and I find that it kind of took away from the story. But I don't want to spoil it too much. I mostly want to talk about the actual like the cartoon,
Anime.
the animated version or cartoon. I mean, it's argued if it's considered a Western
Anime.
cartoon or an anime, but yeah, I think we're gonna talk about the Nickelodeon version.
Nice.
By the way, there will be spoilers, so
Facts.
watch the show.
Yeah.
It's a good show. It's a good show. It's a good show. But yeah, today we're going to talk about some of the themes. Did I just pick anyone?
Yeah. You can pick anyone.
just-
I can read it.
Go for
Okay,
it.
I think I think we could probably talk about maybe I'm going to do like the last question where it's like, does anyone here have their favorite character and why? Anyone want to
okay.
go first?
That's a good
Beacon, go
question.
first.
That's
Ooh.
you.
As our guest.
Oh yeah. Also, a disclaimer: I will be observing because I have not watched
'Cause this
Avatar.
A noob.
Yep. So I'm just here to listen.
He's gonna watch it after.
Yeah, I'll watch it after. Don't worry, guys.
Nice. I feel like, have you guys done the prompts of whether or not you're like a certain type of bender?
Yes.
I haven't
I have.
actually.
I've done a couple of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the BuzzFeed ones.
So yeah.
I think I've done
Which
the
potato
BuzzFeed.
are you? But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I've done like a couple of Avatar ones, and I usually go with. I mean, I usually end up as a waterbender,
Mm.
and I feel like that, like, yeah, it kind of reflects of. It's a reflection of who my favorite character is, which is Katara.
Yeah.
It's so basic, I know, but she's just so comforting. Like she's the mom of the group, even though she doesn't like really have a mom. I mean, she does have a mom, but
She's dead.
she died.
Yeah.
She died.
R.I.P. to the goat.
Piece of the goat.
Yeah, yeah, I love her. She's such a vibe. She's so feisty, and yeah, I mean, not talking about the Katara on the
Live action.
live action.
We can
one.
just stick to the cartoon for now, and then when we get to live action, we'll talk about the live action. So
Okay.
assuming we're talking about the cartoon version, so we don't have to always specify.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
help you out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And her fits are fire.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. She always has a good.
Mhm.
The animators did a good job at, I think, fitting a lot of people, but Katara always had really good fits.
Especially on the fire book.
The Fire Nation,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I
yeah.
agree.
They really popped off like Slay Queen, you know.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
For me, I just really think that Zuko and
Yeah.
Iroh have the best story out of this whole like show. But my favorite character is Iroh. He's just
goat.
such a like a good old man.
The goat.
Yeah.
And like he's just so wise at the same time. He's like, because he could be like, he was like the greatest general of the Fire Nation at one point.
He was
like,
on set to be the Fire Lord.
first heir to the throne. The throne. I'm
Yeah,
so
the
flawed.
Throbby Throne.
The throne.
Yeah.
And then like, you wouldn't think that he was like that when you first see him, right?
Mhm.
He's just like a humble old man,
Mhm.
and he's so wise, and he likes tea, and he likes food.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that reflects a lot of us.
Yeah.
I probably will give the obvious pick. I think I think a lot of people, maybe the majority of fan base might pick, but I definitely always been a fan of Zuko. I think most of the reason why is
We love Dante Bosco.
yeah. I think
Mhm.
the voice actor just has a wonderful voice. First of all,
Yes, he does.
but also
Such a hot voice.
in the entire like I think series, you see this kid who kind of grew up with like a violent father that taught him that power was everything, that like the world isn't designed for weak, and in order to be like truly like a Fire Nation man, you need to seek power and basically just rule the world through power, right?
Mhm.
And then you have like the antithesis, like the Dark Mirror, which is like Uncle Iroh, who would operate through compassion and whatever. And you see Zuko like someone who actually cared about other people, but he was trying to live up to his father's expectations, and so he usually operated through the world through like violence and just like cruelty. But you could tell from the get go that that's not really him. Like I know in the very first episode they introduced him as like just like he has a scar, he has an ugly ponytail, so you see him as a villain.
Yeah.
And then like a few
A
episodes, I
tool.
think they introduced like his backstory about how in that meeting he was trying to speak against like the general, like, oh, we shouldn't sacrifice troops to save or to win against the Earth Kingdom. I was like,
Yeah.
that's unethical, right? And then obviously like that gets him banished, right? So he gets punished his whole life for doing the right thing. But even then, he still kind of follows that ethical paradigm of like, hey, what does it mean to be a good person? And so I don't know. To me, that's like kind of. I know we're gonna talk about like destiny versus free will, but I don't know. I think that's a very beautiful arc of like when the whole world tells you to like that you must behave in a certain way, and you know deep down it's like that's not the right thing to do, and you choose to do the right thing. Like to me, that's such a beautiful story that I think anyone
Agreed.
can take away from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shout out, yeah.
And-
Ooh.
No picks for the cabbage guy.
Oh, cabbage guys.
My cabbages.
My cabbage.
They had him in the live action for a
Yeah.
little bit. I was like, hey,
That was good.
I know that guy.
they built up that scene
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
That was one thing I think I'll give him a lot of compliment on is that like they I think the first time they trashed the cabbage or like they almost got it and like he didn't say anything at the very end. He's like, "What cabbages?" I thought that was pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty well. Yeah.
I guess since we're on like the topic of Zuko, maybe we can start with one of the questions that deal with.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the examples we kind of use is talking about the conversation of destiny versus free will. If you're a philosophy major, you can say determinism versus free will, whatever you want to kind of talk about it. Where I think one of the central themes with Zuko, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of themes in this story, but we can just talk about one of them. Was like the idea of redemption, of like, and also like actually being like, are you a person that can actually make change in your life? Like, are you in control of everything, or are you at the mercy of your environment? For example, like Zuko obviously grew up in a Fire Nation where the values were like conquer, divide, whatever, but he still chose to do the right thing. Is there any characters in the story that you guys would say besides Zuko that kind of illustrates the idea of like choosing your own fate in order to make like a better future?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Sorry.
No,
Go
yeah,
ahead,
yeah.
go-
You can
go for
answer
it,
any
go
way you
for it.
like. You don't have to.
Go
yeah.
for it.
So like I think Katara would also fit in that category. Well, once she learned about knowing how to bloodbend, she had an option to just bloodbend
Yeah.
like throughout the series, but yeah, she chose the higher ground and stuck to her, I guess, her beliefs and her values. She doesn't want to like take anyone else's what do you call it,
Free will.
free will,
Yeah.
because I mean, oh, I'm so sorry, it's just like I lost my train of thought.
No,
But
no worries. Yeah. Because because was it? She first of all she learns how to bloodbend from that like old granny. That one
Yeah.
episode where like I think it kind of builds it up where she learns how to like bend her sweats, and then it builds up where like the granny's kind of bending all the flowers and like the water off the flowers, and then next thing you know, they're doing puppet controls or whatever. I remember the one episode where Zuko and her go on their journey and define like her mother's killer.
right,
Yeah, and like at the very like it was. I think that scene was very like it was very powerful because like usually Katara, yes, throughout the series she always like had like outbursts. She's always like confrontational, very contrarian, like hey, don't tell me what to do, and like also like fighting for her freedom per se. And she had every right, or like sorry, not right, but she had in her power. She could have just ended this guy through any means, right? And I know like it was kind of scary to see this side of Katara where like I remember when they kind of I forgot what the actual it was like the Raiders or whatever, like the Spare Raiders whatever, where they go into the boat and then Katara just blood blends one of them. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and then like Zuko's like, oh shit, like she could just do that at any time, right? And then I think at the pivotal moment when she meets the guy who killed her mother, there's like just raining. There's a bunch of ice spears just going straight at him and then stopping and then saying no, like that's not what I'm gonna do. I don't know. I thought that was pretty powerful. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
You have to be able to have that type of restraint in you.
Yeah, because I think most people losing a parent and then knowing that someone took that from you and having an opportunity to do revenge, like I don't know, maybe some people might take it, but I think it just kind of shows like, hey, like that it doesn't always have to be just pain and suffering from pain and suffering.
Yeah, 100%. I think like one of the most beautiful things about the show is like when they present it to you like in the very first season, it was very simple. Like Aang is the protagonist and Zuko is the antagonist. But as you watch, like as the seasons go on, they actually have very similar stories. And Aang, like he's just this kid, like he must have been like what, like 11, 12?
He was 12. I think he was 12 in
years
the
old?
story. Yeah.
And to have that responsibility of being like the Avatar, it's like that's crazy. Because I know he escaped because like he just couldn't handle the responsibility.
Yeah, it's well for a 12-year-old. That's
For a 12-year-old, he's like, I just want to like play and go penguin sledding, right? Like I don't want to be the savior of the world and like be all of this.
People told him he was Messiah and he didn't want to be Messiah.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah, no.
yeah, and then to like be trapped in the I think this is kind of going into the other question too, but like to be trapped in like 100 years in the iceberg and learn that like your people got killed off partly because of your fault, you couldn't defend them. That's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if any like who would be able to handle that, but
So much guilt.
yeah, it's a lot of guilt, but also it's like going back to that question of like destiny versus free will. Like he was destined to be the Avatar when he had no choice, but he still kind of took that on because like no one else was gonna do it.
Yeah, no one's gonna do his job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to talk too much about like Legend of Korra, but like just kind of kind of goes to the backstory of like the Avatar cycle. And I don't think you need those external sources to kind of know about it, but we know through the premise of the story that there's always going to be an Avatar. That's the whole purpose is why they're reincarnated is to like bring balance to the world per se.
Yep.
And some avatars had the opportunity, like I know after Roku before him had the opportunity to master all the elements like in each nation. They like flew him out. He learned all the elements. But Aang, he was just like, he was 12. They told him he was Avatar. And I think Monkey also was like, no, we shouldn't train him yet. Like, no, we need to train him now. And then because of that, he runs away. Then he comes back and he has to learn 4 elements in a year. And if he doesn't, then like a lot of people are going to die.
Yeah.
And it sucks because throughout the whole journey, you see Aang lose his cool a lot from someone who's a pacifist, loses cool a lot through like, entering the Avatar state. And like he feels guilty about it. But like a lot of this has to come from the product of him having to rush through things. He didn't get to take like a proper route of like taking his time learning the elements and like learning like how to, mitigate. He just had to know how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot to throw on like anyone. And like, again, this is a fictional story, like a fictional kid, but I don't know. If I was 12 and I was told that I was supposed to do shit, I would be like, no, bro, like what am I supposed to do at 12 years old?
I want to play Fortnite, you.
Yeah.
For real, bro.
Just being able
It's
to.
like, yo, you're 12, you gotta be LeBron James. It's like,
Yo, chill.
damn, bro. It's a lie.
But going back to what you said, Vince, there's a lot of parallels when it comes to Aang and Zuko, especially knowing their like history and the backstory of their like grandfathers. Just so sick.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Right?
Was that revealed in the comics or the actual?
It was revealed in the actual series.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, I don't remember. I think Avatar. Oh no. Like actually no. Forget that. Like Zuko's both of his grandfathers are like the previous king or emperor and the Avatar.
Yeah.
So they're related to each other, kind of sorta, because the Avatar is a reincarnation of Aang. So Aang and Zuko.
Yeah, Ronald's lost. So if just for those, I guess Ronald, basically like the Avatar is basically a person that is reincarnated every so often, and so he's either reincarnated to a fire person, a water person, an air person, or earth person.
Yeah, because it's like a cycle.
Yeah,
It's like
and it's in a specific order. So before air is fire. So if I'm trying to remember the fact correctly, but basically the Avatar before him was related to Zuko. So then like, basically like the whole thing is like, like friendship transcends, time.
I see. Wait, Avatar Roku was he part of the Fire Nation?
Yeah,
he was
born into the Fire Nation, and so he was the previous Avatar before him.
Okay.
And then his
And
best
Roku
friend
is Zuko's grandpa?
I think it's great grandpa.
Yeah,
great grandpa. With the best revealed like later, and so like it's one of the shock factor. But what is it? Avatar Roku was friends with Sozin.
Besties.
Yeah, they were besties, and Sozin was the guy who waged the first war.
Yeah.
Like who started the whole war in the Fire Nation.
And he was the one who murdered Avatar Roku.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You really do be your.
messed up.
You really do be your
It
friends.
really do be the homies.
Is there any episodes you guys like? Do you guys have a favorite episode in this series that like really popped out and why?
It's a hard question.
And take your time. We can always edit this, so don't worry. You don't have to worry about answering right away.
Something's popping up. Leaves on the Vine, and when
Leaves
when Appa got kidnapped.
Oh yes, the library. Yeah.
No, but yeah, not like his POV. You know how like he had that.
Yeah.
He was just going through it. That made me so sad. Yeah, those are just really sad episodes.
Those are your favorite episodes?
But there's
There's
just
just
so
many.
much context to it.
It's because so Appa is kind of seen as like it's just a side animal. Like he's not supposed to be a character.
Yeah, he's like the mascot.
Yeah, well, not even. He's just like an like a pet. It's like I don't know. It's like I'm trying to think of like a hero and his trusty sidekick. It's like
it's like Doran Boots.
yeah, it's like Boots. It's like Boots, but Boots couldn't talk. Yeah, that's exactly how he is, right? And they told the whole story of Appa, but without because he can't speak, right? Appa can't. He's like
He's a sky bison.
Yeah, he's a sky bison, right? But they're able to telling a compelling story about like a sky bison. Like, bro, this is a fictional animal, and I'm like crying
Yeah.
over this animal, and like because like in one of the in the series he gets kidnapped and he escapes, and then he kind of goes throughout the world trying to look for Aang, whatever.
Yeah.
And like he runs into Suki, he runs into a monk, he runs into like so many people, and like at the very end, like after being like tortured by like all his captors, whatever, and he like this monk sends him to Aang, he gets captured, and then the episode just ends there, and then you're just sad and like what the fuck. Yeah, so it's one of it's a
I know.
it's a very sad. I mean, at the very end, like they end up rescuing Appa, but like it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not okay.
I'm not okay.
Imagine Brownie getting captured and seeing his POV on screen.
Yeah, bro. Like everything he went through. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy? I had a dream last.
messed up.
unrelated. But I had a dream last night that Bosco got lost. And I was like imagining.
It's just his POV.
This is over on my.
No.
Yeah.
He like runs into like Senor's Pizza.
Resident Senors.
Yo,
Visits Tokyo
Yo,
Street
this
Market.
this shit smells good.
sees the crescent view.
Oh my god, bro. He just starts sitting
Oh,
like
sitting
this. No.
No,
Oh my
not
God.
like this.
Anyway, Vince, you got a favorite episode?
There's a couple that come to mind. Like the very first episodes of like the Fire book, where Zuko kind of like awkwardly tries to get into the Avatar or Team Avatar. Those are it's just it's kind of funny, but also kind of like I feel bad for him because he has like really good intentions of like, hey, I finally have all this like character development, like I've grown, I've changed, but you guys don't believe me, which makes sense.
Yeah, because he spent the whole
You
series
spent two seasons trying to kill the Avatar.
capture the Avatar and whatnot. So yeah, it makes sense.
Zuko here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Zuko here.
It's funny because when you see interviews of Dante Bosco, like he says like, "Hey guys, Zuko here," like as a throwback to like that one scene. I think it's very cute.
Just the context. So like he before Zuko kind of like tried to talk to the Team Avatar, he was just practicing on his own, and he was just like, "Hey, Zuko here." He was just practicing in the darkness in the forest.
What a
Yeah.
geek.
He's such a geek.
Yeah, he's very geeky.
Yeah. And then I think it was also cool how it's like, because I think in the last few episodes of Earth Book, I think it was Katara who was actually like starting to trust.
She's the first one. I feel like she was the first one.
She was the first one to trust him, and then like he obviously betrayed them with Azula, right? And like Laogai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then like in the Fire Book, it was actually the others who started trusting Zuko. So it's kind of like building up that trust.
I just rewatched the episode when he says hi Zuko. So I think Sokka, Aang, and Katara don't trust Zuko, but Toph does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that was kind of foreshadowed when she run into Uncle Iroh, in the forest or whatever,
Mhm.
and then they start having tea, and then of course like Toph has this ability where she can sense people's pulse,
Mm-hmm.
and then she can determine if they're lying or not, right?
Yeah.
So she can feel that Zuko has good intentions, and all of them. I even wrote a quote on one of the things where like all like Katara, Aang, and Sokka are saying like, oh no, we should not trust Zuko. So her response to that was like, I'm just saying that considering his family and how he was raised, he could have turned out a lot worse. So that was like kind of like it was the 3 against 1, and then I think she yells like I'm trying to think who's the blind one around here, right? Where like she's the only one who trusts and able to actually trust Zuko at the time, right? And Zuko actually like has to win the trust of others from like kind of fucking people over basically. And now that he's actually trying to do the right thing and also like failed countless times, it's kind of hard for anyone to really see him as a person of redemption. And also kind of fast forward to that one scene where like he sees his uncle, starts crying, like I'm sorry, and then the uncle forgives him right away, right?
Yeah.
Where to me that's such a powerful scene because it's like it kind of tackles the question of like when someone messes up, do you just like cut them off and just say like nope, right?
Yeah.
Or do you like meet them with grace and like compassion, and then that allows them to become a better person? Because like you could tell Zuko throughout the whole series was trying to be a better person, but like he just kept fucking up. And like after you fuck up so many times, like people can only forgive you so many times. But even then, like you have people like Toph, you had people like Iroh who kind of like looked at this kid like, no, like I understand why he's like the way he is, and being empathetic to his suffering. not condoning what he's doing, but more of understanding why.
Yeah.
You know, I remember she said like, yeah, he could have been more messed up. You know, considering he's from the Fire Nation, right? Because she understands that nation is like,
Messed up.
trying to conquer the world, right? So
Yeah.
she understands that like he's a product of his environment, and gives him that grace and like that kind of. It's those supporting characters that allow someone like Zuko to kind of become what he is today.
Yeah, that's something I appreciate about the live action too, because like I don't think in the first season it was more subtle how like they're hinting at Zuko's actually like a good guy, but in the first season they actually I don't know I don't know if in the original they talked about that this is the 41st like battalion or something.
Oh
where it was,
yeah,
like all the new.
Yeah, they changed it a little bit in the live action. I remember. Yeah, so they I'm gonna spoil the live action, so if you want to skip ahead, but they made it so that the reason that I think it's 101st, not 101st, it's like some 54th battalion, whatever. The reason why they're alive is because Zuko like prevented them from going to war to be collateral damage.
Yeah.
But in the live action, they don't. His crew is just his crew.
Yeah.
It says nothing. But yeah, I think they changed that in live action to make it seem like he was more.
Yeah.
noble.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I appreciate is like they. Like it showed Zuko's compassion more, and then like that scene also where he was just like struggling in bed, and then Ozai was just like, "Oh, you're fucking weak."
Yeah.
And like, "Oh, you're banished," like straight to his face while he was like recovering, right? Like, I think that was a really good change in the live action that I appreciate.
Speaking of my first episode and kind of bouncing off you, one of the ones I think I still love a lot is Zuko alone. Like the one where he's kind of just going alone, because I know before that he kind of tells his uncle that he's going separate ways and that we don't need each other, and so he needs to figure stuff out by himself. And while he's kind of on his little camel and then walking, like he sees like a couple, one of them is pregnant, right, and he has the initial reaction to pull out his knife and try to rob them, but the moment he sees like the pregnant wife, he like stops himself. He's hungry, he's starving, and instead of saying, "Oh, I'm hungry and I need to survive and I'm gonna hurt someone to survive," he pulls his knife away and keeps, walking on the little camel, right? Which, like, to me, it's like it really does it was demonstrating that Zuko does have the capacity for good, but it also just kind of shows that like he keeps messing up, and no matter how much he tries, like at the very end of the episode, even when like he tried to save like that Earth nation from like the military occupation.
Right.
Oh, we did watch that episode.
Yeah. Like at the very end, like it didn't matter what good he did for the nation, like the little boy and the family, because they saw him as an enemy of war. Like, you're on the opposing side. Like, I can't trust you. It doesn't matter what good you are, and you're useless. And then it ends up with Zuko kind of just walking alone, alone, right? And then kind of the theme where it kind of just had a very sad theme where like no matter how much he tried to do the right thing, like there was a point where like oh, I'm Zuko, the son of the Fire Lord Ozai and whatever, and he has the sword in his hand, right? People saw him as a monster no matter even if he had good intentions or not.
Oh yeah. I remember that episode.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was one of my favorite episodes. Yeah. I don't know, but we can also start with some of the characters and some of the things that we like about each character. We can start off with Aang.
Aang.
Aang the most.
Avatar Aang is our protagonist. What are some things that you guys find that you love most about Aang, and like what kind of story his story kind of reached out to you?
Bald ass head. Giant ass.
I'm always so appalled how bald he is. Like, does he shave every day?
I was saying
God.
from season 3 when it revealed his hair, I'm pretty sure he shaves like frequently, Yeah, if
like homie just got a
Is
razor.
that like part of his meditation?
yeah, before he meditates,
He's in the Avatar
lines
state.
it up.
He's just giving himself a lineup.
Yo, shout out 98 cuts.
Yo, for real.
Super cuts.
You think Tony would give him a lineup?
Oh, yo, he would go crazy, yo.
But yeah, what are some things you guys loved about our protagonist Aang? We'll go from character to character and just hear everyone's opinion about it.
What do you like about Aang, other than his bald head?
He's just a silly little kid, his dynamic with the whole team. He's a leader, and he's the one carrying all these burden of saving the world and everything. But he's just such a lighthearted person, where like he finds the good in everyone, and he just he's just so silly. Like the first line that he says in the first episode was just like, "Oh, do you guys want to go penguin sledding with me?"
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was like Who? Just a child.
Yeah,
Coming out of an
Literal
iceberg.
child.
He's like,
Yeah.
I want to go penguin slaying.
doesn't know what's going on. And he just wakes up.
Just like
ready to
you know,
play.
He got his priorities straight.
Yeah, with Aang, I think he's like the glue of Team Avatar because like Sokka and Katara have like very like leadership qualities. I think that's like coming from like their situation, and then like Toph is kind of like this tough person, you know, like
Rebellion. She's rebellious. She's rebellious kid.
and then kind of like Aang, like he's a leader. He's the Avatar, and he has the most responsibility out of all of them. And then yeah, like this guy is just like fooling around, just like. And even later on in the show, in season 3, where they're like in the Fire Nation, like when they go to that town and like they dress up as Fire Nation, they had to like hide as like flaming, like
Flamio.
Like this guy's-
Comment.
Like this guy's just fooling around. It's like
Do you remember?
that's what I appreciate. Like even relating it back to real life too. Like as a leader, like you don't always want to be like dictatorial. Like oh you must do this. Like, you must do this. Like punishment. Like you gotta learn to have some fun along the way too. So that's what I like about Aang.
I think one thing they really did right with Aang is that because he had this like post time war skip, plus he was also raised by monks, which I think they're based off Hindu monks. I had any Buddhist. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Buddhist monks. Sorry, my bad. Getting them wrong. But I think that's a kind of a dominion that kind of believes in pacifism and like value of life. So they even comes to the point where they value like if they move too much, they're gonna kill like the macro
the
microorganisms, right? To a point where like they do everything they can to value life as much as possible, right? And in the series, you kind of see everyone kind of been destroyed by war. Like I don't trust anyone. Like for example, Zuko alone, or you know, like I can't trust the Fire Nation, Water Nation can't trust the Earth Nation can't trust the Fire Nation. Everyone's kind of divided. But Aang, like for example, when he was like Hot Man, whatever, even in like the time when they were in disguise, he treated all the Fire Nation, you know, people as friends, right?
Yeah.
You know, when he gets captured by like Zuko and like you know Zuko, and then Zuko like tries to kidnap him back from like the blue spirit mask, whatever, and then he gets hit by an arrow, and then Aang saves him, and Aang's like, you think if like you know we grew up in another time, we would have been friends, right? His whole mantra was all just about like not trying to propagate this whole like enemy versus enemy kind of mentality, because everyone was kind of like perverse by like war, and it even comes to the point where at the very end where like he basically has like he's in an after state and he's about to like murder Ozai and he has all the power to do so. Instead of doing that, he like takes the pacifist route. He basically goes up to Adolf Hitler and says like, hey, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to take away your power so you don't hurt anyone. That's how much he like values life that much.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I don't think in the real world, if someone were to give that kind of like power, I think most people would have took like the utilitarian route of like, oh, we should just kill this one person for the benefit of everyone else. But for him, it was like no, like every human life, or every life is just sacred and valuable. And he like kind of instead of murdering someone in cold blood, he just like took the pacifist route. And I thought that was a very like that it takes a lot of grit to do something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I love that. I love that little bald guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's not canon, but like, given all the stuff that he had to go through, what mental issues do you guys think Aang has? Just a little fun side question.
Probably anxiety. I don't know. Like I would be like I don't like.
Yo, homie got PTSD, bro.
Obviously, he's a fictional character, so they wrote him as a kid, and he's having kid stuff.
Yeah.
But even then, you could still like see him like kind of tackle something, like especially when he's doing the whole like chakra shit. You can tell he has a lot of demons that he's kind of fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say anxiety probably. Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, just a lot of like guilt. Like I don't know if they only touched on it in some episodes, that guilt of like, you know, I was in the ice for 100 years and all these people died because of me. Like that would fuck me up.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd be like I maybe I'm not like it would cause a lot of self-doubt and be like maybe I'm not the right person to do this, like.
Yeah.
And he's reminded of it every time, like not every time, but like in the
Every so
book,
often,
in
yeah.
book 1, almost every episode that like people find out he's the Avatar, they're like, oh, like where have you been?
Yeah.
Like, oh, these people died, the Fire Nation, blah 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 blah. Yeah, so it's like, I think he would have been ravaged by guilt, but is obviously has a strong mind, strong character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with the intro, like when the world needed him the most, he vanished.
They really said that. Said that
Right?
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, absolutely.
Like, give the guy a break.
I also remember I think after book 2 where like he gets electrocuted by like Azula and he wakes up with hair and stuff. That was one of the things where he felt guilty because he felt like he failed the world again. Yeah, and like that's probably a lot to take in. Like you at the age of 12 were burdened with this responsibility of the well-being of the entire world, and you failed once and then you failed again, and then you have to live with that and then have to like tell yourself to keep going. Like that's a lot for
Crazy.
yeah, for anyone. Yeah.
Next character,
Yeah, we got Katara.
Katara.
What's your favorite character? What's your favorite thing
Yeah.
about Katara?
She's just really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like looking at her and the way she. I mean, you would say that Aang holds the team together like glue, but Katara's more like what's another word for glue? Or like she's the mother of
the Gorilla Glue.
She's extra glue.
Yeah, she's a Gorilla
She's
Glue.
more glue.
She gives like structure to the.
Yeah, no,
She's the
that's-
foundation.
Yeah.
The foundation.
If
Yeah.
Aang's the
Fundamentals.
glue, she's the
Fundamentals.
foundation. She's the fundies.
foundation. Yeah, she's just a mom, you know. Like she tries her best to relate to everyone, especially that episode where they first took in Toph and they were having
Yeah.
a really hard time like engaging with her and like telling her what to do because Toph's just like, you know,
Blind.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah.
She kind of acted spoiled there, not gonna lie, but yeah, and Katara was just like, you know, we have to do our part, and that kind of like not saying that I agree with what she does and everything, because she was also in the wrong in that episode with her way of
Like micromanaging.
micromanaging
Yeah.
things, but yeah, I kind of relate.
Yeah.
That's why I like her.
What I really appreciate that you could tell that she cared about even though yes, it came from a place of like she was micromanaging. It came from a place of love because you could tell that she was cared about the well-being of like everyone, including Toph, which I thought was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was my answer?
Your answer? Well, if I can answer.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So like I really appreciate it because like I know in I mean it's kind of implicit, at least very implied that like for example like the Northern Water Tribe had very strict gender roles where like women were supposed to be the healers and the men were supposed
Okay,
to be
that
like
was
the oh you can pick it
The
up when I
men.
want to. Yeah. And it even kind of, and I'm not going to talk too much about Sokka, but we will talk about it later, where like even the Southern Water Tribe part of Hazel's views too, because Sokka also holds that same views of like, men are supposed to be in charge, whatever. And then I think what I really appreciate about Katara is that even when like the entire tribe had this way of life, she's like, no, I think that's wrong. I think that's stupid. And even though she was outclassed by like, what's it, like the Uncle Paku, I think his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she still fought for her like freedom. You
Yeah.
know, she was like, "Fuck it! Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you don't tell me what to do." Like, and I don't know. I love characters who have a good contrarian spirit to them, where it's about like, there's some people who are like, "No, like, this is the way it should be. This is the way it has been. And it's the way it has to be at all times, right?" And we have a character that says like, "No, it doesn't have to be like this. I don't like the way it's like this. This isn't fair. This is unjust," and just like fighting for what's right. I don't know. I think it's a very noble pursuit. I think it's a good motif to teach kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think I think that's a good point, because like from a young age, because her mother died, like in the Southern Water Tribe, her and Sokka had to take like a leadership role, right?
Yeah.
So it was very easy for her to like stick to traditional values for stability. But yeah, she's very challenging to like the norms. Like even when like Gran was like, oh, like Avatar Aang is like a threat to our society.
Yeah, it's our
Like-
tribe or whatnot. Yeah.
Like you should not take him in and stuff, right? But she knew he was like, Katara knew that Aang was like special, right? Like you're not just gonna leave a boy stranded out in the.
She was the only who cared. Yeah.
She's the only one who cared,
Yeah.
which kind of like shows her motherly side too. and that kind of like translated throughout the whole series. And one of my favorite, one of my favorite episodes was where she made her own water, like she water bended with her own sweat. It's like it shows her like resourcefulness, and I think without Katara, like the Team Avatar would lose, yo.
Definitely.
Yeah, they would be so lost
I
without her.
remember the episode where Azula ambushed Aang into like going into that like deserted village place.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if Katara wasn't there, Aang would have been
You been cooked.
It would
right.
have been fried.
You been cooked.
Yeah. She's always saving his ass. Like when it comes to like being a healer. Oh, that's one of my favorite parts too. Like her being a healer and her being a master with just like within one series. I mean one season, one book.
Mm-hmm.
Such a goat. And Sifu Katara just, like carrying all that guilt of like having her mother rescue her, or like not rescue her, just
Yeah, she had to basically sacrifice herself.
sacrifice for Katara so she doesn't get found out that she's actually the waterbender. Or was her mother also a waterbender?
No, so what happened was the Fire Nation came because they found out there was a waterbender in the tribe, and they asked, where's the last waterbender? And the mother says, I'm the last water, even though it was Katara.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
So her mother was.
It wasn't really a clear, but I'm
Implied.
pretty sure it's supposed that she wasn't the waterbender and Katara was, but she told them that she was the last waterbender. That's why at the very end, like when she's about to kill the commander, she's like, "Who was the last waterbender?" She's like, "It's me," and then she like has the whole like ice crystals like flying at him. Yeah,
That's so sick. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that part.
yeah. I think the animators did a very good job at animating her waterbending. I find that like especially during like the Lake Lagwai scene before like Aang gets like fucking electrocuted, they did a really good job, like the whole octopus.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, the hand.
Yeah, and like
Octopus.
I don't know, even in like the final scene where like Zuko kind of gets electrocuted from Azula, and then the Katara kind of has to pick up the fight, where like you could see that she's the way she fights isn't like a very like to hurt someone, and Azula's just trying to kill her, right? And then in that moment where like literally like Azula's about to like point electrocute like her face, she just like, kind of puts the water all them, and then she kind of just like melts herself out of the water and ties her up in the chain and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool the way they animated her fighting style. I don't know. It was very fun to watch. As like in terms of like a visual perspective. Yeah. I love seeing her waterbend. Yeah, they did a good job with her.
The goat.
Yeah. Anything else we like about Katara? Like, you want to talk about?
Mommy.
Mommy. She's mommy.
Mother.
No, I don't know. I just think she had a lot to the story, and I'm very glad she was such a central part of like what makes the story go. Like, if it wasn't for her, Aang would have been dead like multiple times. Multiple times, especially like in end of book 2, boy gets blown back shots. And then,
Bro gets his back,
Bro gets back
his
shots.
back blown by Azula.
yeah. I'm just gonna list two characters. Let's jump into
Sokka.
yeah, let's talk about Sokka.
Sokka.
What can we learn from Sokka?
From what Beacon tells me, Sokka has a pretty big character arc.
A really good character. Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
I thought he was gonna be just comedic effect, but they did a good job with him as well. Yeah.
Apparently, his romance, like his romantic partners are a big focal point of Avatar 2,
Yeah.
which was like Beacon was trying to explain it to me a lot. Do you want to explain it to the audience?
I thought you wanted to do it.
No. I took bits and pieces of it, but you explain it probably better than I could.
For some reason, I just couldn't get my mind to it. There's a camera, and you guys are just.
You want to? We can spitball, and if you kind of recall, then you can bounce off.
Yeah.
Okay,
no,
I'll explain it piecewise through the eyes of Beacon, through the voice of Ronald.
Fill in the gaps.
Okay.
So, Jason was explaining how Sokka grew up in the Water Nation, and Beacon was explaining like they're very traditional. So, Sokka comes off as really sexist early in the series.
Very.
And like
misogynist.
he
Top
like
G.
he like gets with
Andrew Tate. Sokka Tate.
Yeah, Sokka Tate, right? It's actually his fucking Tom G in this whole like season 1.
So he genuinely believes that like women just aren't capable, and so but then he like starts dating like girls who like constantly challenge that
and are just way more talented.
Yeah,
than
Yeah,
women.
just way
yeah,
more
yeah.
talented. Like
At everything he does.
Like this one chick turns into the moon for some reason, like Beacon was telling me earlier, and then like there's this other chick who's just like super talented and like super headstrong, and they're like in love with each other and stuff. But like she's the one who eventually like changes Sokka into like more of a woman lover, essentially, or starts to believe that women are more capable.
Yeah.
I don't know what her name is. But
Suki.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, because what is it? I think, and I guess this is talk about the whole like destiny versus free will. Like, are you a product of your environment, or are you someone who like has autonomy over your decisions and also your beliefs as well? It would make sense that Sokka would have such a belief growing in a nation like or a tribe like that, where like they're very traditional. But then for him having to go out in the world and meet someone like Suki, who is just a way better fighter. Like it's very clear that she's just a stronger fighter, and she has obviously the burden of like representing the Kyoshi Warriors and like being a competent fighter, and Sokka having humility is like like, can you teach me how to fight, right? And she teaches him how to fight, whatnot, and also meeting what's her name,
Yue.
the Moon Girl. So
The
Yue
Moon
is a
Girl.
Moon Girl, right? Where she takes the noble responsibility of like almost making a sacrifice for her water tribe, her northern water tribe, right? Where Sokka kind of learns of like what it takes to be like a true leader. It takes like not being selfless, right? And I don't know, like you can see kind of how Sokka struggles of the idea of like not being quote unquote man enough, and to him that was like what a leader was, and then him kind of coming to this conclusion of like leader isn't necessarily like someone who sees the world like that, but it's like seeing the best in everyone. And also I think there was also a scene where like he becomes like a sword fighter.
I love that
I really love that
episode,
episode. Yeah, where like he meets a Fire Nation swords fighter, and like the sword fighter I think is like, oh, let me guess, you travel from blah 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 to blah blah, and he's like, no, like I'm actually like the worst in the group, like all my friends are benders and whatnot, and like I just want to like kind of I remember I forgot what he said, but he like, kind of wanted to make something of himself, and after the entire episode he kind of learns to discipline himself in like a fighting style, and then like at the very end of I think the season it comes with great, like it helps him a lot with fighting. So yeah.
Yeah, the thing I like about Sokka is like it's obvious that he's the weakest in the group because he's not a bender,
Yeah,
right? But just like on paper,
by
he's-
proxy, yeah.
he's the weakest. But like he doesn't let it get to him. Like he still assumes a leadership role most of the time, right? So it kind of shows like there he knows his own strength. Although like in that episode that you just mentioned, like he becomes self-aware that I aim to contribute more because all my other friends have these special talents, and I can just throw boomerang like
Yeah. Boomerang.
I need to contribute more. So it's like kind of like having that humility as well as what we already touched on about like changing his misogynistic views.
Mm-hmm.
Because I even in the first episode he was like belittling Katara so much. It's
Always
like,
has side comments, yeah.
he's always has side comments. Like in the first episode, like Katara caught a fish with water bending.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't catch a fish with like his spear, and he blames Katara for like water bending. And him
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, she caught a fish and you didn't, bro.
Yeah, hold that, bro. Like,
Yeah, you gotta hold that, bro. You just got little broed by your sister, bro.
yeah.
Was good, little bro.
But yeah, he has also a good character, and he's just a goof. I love Sokka.
He was the comedic relief of the story, and I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I love how like at the end of the series where he like kind of forgot about these gender norms and tried being more in his element, that he showed his true colors of how he loves engineering and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like he just loves inventing, and he's such a smart cookie. Like you couldn't really tell by how he acts. Like he's such a goof, like comedic effect and whatever.
Yeah.
But he literally led the war into Ozai's territory.
What, the Eclipse episode or something?
Yeah, the Eclipse episode.
Yeah. He was a
Yeah.
tactician. Yeah.
He was a tactician, yeah. And he was basically working side by side with his dad, who like he looks up to. Yeah. And okay, I forgot. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's really cool because like he you could tell that he had a desire to be a leader, and you could tell that he took the steps necessary to do that.
Right, in his own way of doing it.
Yeah, because even when like all the benders like were competent fighters, right? He would always be the one to make the game plan for like everything.
Yeah.
Whether that be like trying to escape like that hot lake with like trying to rescue like his dad,
Yeah.
or just like any attack on the Fire Nation. Like, oh, okay, we're not gonna just go heads on. We're gonna do this. He was like the strategist, and like I thought it was pretty cool because like even though he didn't let the idea that him not having special abilities stop him from achieving greatness,
Yeah.
he still like strived to do the best he can with the abilities he had, even if those abilities weren't as strong as others. And then he ends up becoming a shining example of a non-bender that can do great things. Yeah.
Even like taking on the role as like the big brother in the series.
Yeah.
Like you could tell, like how like that when they did that mini vacation thing where they were just like choosing like fun things to do, but he wanted to go to the library because he wanted to see what stuff they can use against the Fire Nation.
Yeah. He was on
Yeah.
production mode.
Super mature. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Forgot about that. I noticed that I know in live action they brought the owl early.
Oh,
Did
that's
you watch that part?
That's one thing I didn't like about it.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, why is he here?
So give context, Ronald. Basically, there's in season 1, there's this general called General Zhao, and he kind of foreshadows like, in this mysterious library, I found this scroll that told me about the moon spirit, and if you like kill the moon spirit, it stops the waterbenders from using water, right? And so at the season 2, I think, or season 3 or whatever, I think season 2, season 2, they actually stumble upon the library, right? And there's like this big owl that's supposed to be like the keeper of the library, so like, and the owl doesn't trust any outsiders because last time someone came to the library, they try to use their knowledge from the library to propagate war, right?
Yeah.
And Sokka was trying to do that, and so they lied to him like, oh, we're just here for vibes and good times, whatever, right?
We're here to study.
And it's a whole episode, and it ends of the episode. That's where like Appa gets kidnapped. But the whole episode, like Sokka learns that the firebenders can't firebender in the eclipse because there's no sun. They can't draw fire from the sun, basically, right?
Yeah.
And then in the whole episode is just the owl trying to like stop them, right? And that owl, did they just introduce him randomly in like the first season?
In the spirit world.
And then like the owl's not important, doesn't add anything to the plot. It's like, why are you moving characters around? Like, so
it didn't need to be there.
it did not need to be there. I was kind of disappointed. I was like, could have just made a random spirit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But
By the way, library is also one of my favorite episodes. Go-to episode.
yeah. That was a fun one. Where we'll move into Toph, where Toph is like trying to protect Appa from the sandbenders.
Oh,
and,
yeah, it was so sad,
and then she's also like trying to hold the tower so they don't die.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell that she's like, it's like like everyone watched Spider-Man where like there's like civilians fall and there's Mary Jane. And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
That's like what I thought about, like where Toph was put in that situation where she's like, and then it's sad because even though she like helped them escape, like Aang was mad at her, like, why did you
Yeah.
let her? And like you could tell she felt guilty. He was like, I tried, like I wasn't trying to get them to get Appa kidnapped, but she was blind, couldn't see in the sand. She tried everything she could to help, but yeah. Let's move on to next, Toph. What are some elements of Toph that we love?
Love Toph.
Blind.
I love Toph. Like she's also like one of these characters that are super resourceful. Like she didn't let her like blindness get in the way. Like she's able to see with her feet, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro, foot fetish.
She's able to see with the dogs, bro.
Yeah, the dog. She's that dog in her,
She's got that dog
For real,
She's
bro.
got that dog in her. And like there was multiple times in the season where like she would be disadvantaged in a fight. Like for example, during the library episode, and also during the where those two guys captured her and put her into a steel box, and that's where she learned metal bending. I thought that was hard as fuck.
Yeah,
I thought it was hard, but like she's super tough. Which could also be like kind of like a negative quality because it took a while for Team Avatar to kind of like
warm up, sir.
break her down and like for her to be vulnerable with them and to like not be such like a tough macho guy, like not a guy but like a person with them. But like when you learn her backstory, it's kind of sad too because like her family never let her like express herself.
Do anything.
Oh yeah,
Do anything.
I saw that episode, the one where like they go to recruit Toph because they see her at like the battle arena or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
parents don't know about it.
Yeah, and their parents don't know that how dope of a bender she is.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, yeah, like we're just starting her off on beginner shit.
Yeah.
And then she like goes and just like fucks everyone up.
And that's what
Oh,
we're doing
yeah,
to
yeah,
Toph,
yeah.
right? Where the parents saw her as a helpless blind girl, right? But she actually was really talented. She just needed people to believe in her, and that was, Team Avatar. Yeah.
That is so true.
I thought that was just really cool. Like, I think her fight style is sick as fuck.
It's so sick.
Yeah,
yo.
she just
Yeah.
hits the ground and she can like feel where everyone's at, and then
Mhm.
she just kicks everyone's ass. Yeah, yeah. I also another thing about Toph is that she's a contrarian. Yeah, she just doesn't take shit from other people. And I remember when she got kidnapped in the metal cage, she's like, "Once I get out of here, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you guys, whatever." And then you could see just like hit the metal with like her fists, and then you could see like her learn how to metal bend. I thought that was sick as fuck.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Now, do you think? Because I know there's rumors that there's gonna be continuation of the original Avatar team. Do you think they're gonna flesh out Toph's character a lot more?
Apparently they got renewed for season 2 and 3.
For what?
In the live action, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
That and also like the actual animated version, they're gonna continue the story,
Oh.
or like make another story.
Oh
with
yeah, they're doing a movie, right? Isn't it?
just
oh no.
like an actual anime, like
Oh,
the actual cast. So
it's like a whole universe.
yeah.
Like they're doing like an animated Zuko series.
Oh, but like individual characters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
I think just Zuko was just announced, but like yes, you were referring to a series where it continues from like where
Like a tall
they left
spin-off.
off.
But isn't there like a book air? Like it's not animated, but it's comics.
comics.
It's
Yeah.
from- yeah.
Dark Horse Comics made a bunch of comics. I've read some of them. I haven't read all of them, but they have some spicy takes. They talk about Zuko's mother in one of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So-
I think that's what they're probably gonna base it
Yeah.
off on.
Which I hope, because like that was probably one of the biggest cliffhangers. I know, like at the very end, like Zuko looks at Oza's like, "Where's my mother?"
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where's mommy?
And then you just never find out, and
Mommy.
you're like, "What?" And then it ends. You're like, "What?"
Yeah. It's actually pretty sick. I'm watching the comics because someone made
Like an animated version where like
yeah.
scrolls through it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
On YouTube.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
so
you don't
juicy.
have to, unless you don't have to go to the library and like try to read it and then like
The library.
And imagine the voice. Like the voice.
and then put it back and then
Imagine
like don't
Dante
rent it out.
Bosco.
You go to Indigo Library, instead of buying the book, you just open the book, read it all there, and then you put it back and then you leave.
Sure.
Or you just take pictures of all the pages.
Take a picture.
I'm kidding. Don't do that. It's stealing. Don't do that.
We don't condone piracy.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't a lot to say about Toph, but because I know there was like one scene where she was like, "Oh, I kind of want to go on my own like journey with Zuko, whatever," and she didn't get that. So
Oh yeah, I remember that was cute. That was
yeah,
cute.
that was very cute. So yeah, I'm hoping they do something more with Toph, because I don't know, very lovable character, very likable character, very cool character, and I don't know, it'd be pretty cool to see. Yeah. So we got Team Avatar out of the way. What about Iroh? We can talk about
Oh.
Iroh.
Oh.
What do we got to say
Go.
about Iroh?
I love that guy.
Papa, Father Iroh.
Unky.
Okay.
What can I say about Iroh?
That's your favorite character, bro.
That's my favorite character.
Do you want
I love that he got his own tea shop.
Mm.
Oh,
He
At the
deserves
very
that.
end, yeah.
He deserves that. Yeah, it's like Jade Dragon. What is it called? Something like Jade Dragon, I think.
Yeah, something
Like that. Yeah, but as I said in the beginning, he's just like super humble. Like he's like this big Fire Nation general who like laid siege to Ba Sing Se for like what is it, like 100 days or something. And throughout you would have never known that if they like
Haven't
the
told
other
you.
characters didn't explicitly say
Like how dope he was.
yeah how dope he was, and then like him losing his son and then like just quitting the siege after that, it shows that like he's human too, right? Like,
Yeah.
And I don't know, just him being a father figure to Zuko and Zuko turning into this like his de
Metaphorical.
facto son
Yeah.
was I love that story. Like them have the best kind of like arc in the whole of the series, as I said before. But yeah, just a cool guy, old man.
Iroh was a really good supporting character, because like Zuko, obviously you could tell he wanted to be a good person. And obviously he had to he was trying to live up to his father.
Yeah.
But Iroh being that kind of moral compass to kind of guide him, and also show them like grace and forgiveness,
Yeah.
right? Because like a lot of times when you're dealing with people who in real life who have a hard time, right? Sometimes like if they're problematic, they might, if you try to help them, they kind of see it as like you're against them, whatever.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like you're trying to, like they might get offended, like, oh, you don't know my life more than me. Like I know my life, I know what I'm doing, right? But and that was like Zuko the whole time, where he was just fucking like trying to, like he knows what he wants. He wants to restore his honor, right? And then Iroh was always like, no, a man needs his rest. You know, you get some rest. Like, you know, don't fireburn with anger or fireburn with the breath. And he was always trying to be that kind of, basically that father figure to like guide him to like a better path, right? And like having someone like Iroh in your life is probably, you know, a wonderful thing to have because he's such a compassionate man, and also like gives advice that is really helpful to someone who maybe is always operates in the world through just anger and, you know, apathy and suffering.
Yeah.
You know?
And he never judged Zuko like once.
Yeah.
Like Zuko would always like say like, oh, like you don't understand, Uncle, stuff like this. I need to restore my honor.
He does.
He does.
He
lost all his honor.
he did, yo. And then like Iroh is just so compassionate to him. Like, I understand like what you're feeling. I know that the path that you think you need to go on is not right, but I kind of let you figure that out for yourself, and I'll be here for like moral support and stuff.
Yeah, there was this one scene where like I think like Zuko finds Appa and like, you know, he's trying to cut him loose. And he's like, okay, what do you plan to do with the bison now that you found him, right?
Yeah.
He's like yelling at him. It's like now I was trying to think about what the man like you want to be, right? Like, and he doesn't micromanage him, but he asks him like a question.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want, Zuko? And Zuko's like, I don't know. And like, you know, he kind of throws frustration, which like a lot of times you kind of need that person to ask you questions about like, you know, are you trying to behave in a way that, you know, appeases your father, or are you trying to, you know, be the man that you actually want to become? Yeah.
He acts like Zuko's personal therapist, yo.
Yo,
That would be so nice to
daddy
have.
therapist Uncle Iroh, yeah.
Yeah. And also like he's just a part of this really cool secret society which it
White
adds
Lotus.
so much more to his character. And yeah, like him coming from like a really high place and just having it all crumble down
Yeah.
because his son died. It making him realize that, you know, there's more to life than conquering the world.
Conquering power, yeah. Sorry, I was saying on like the episode of like Leaves on the Vine where the like the robber kind of comes up to him and tries to mug him, and he like dissuades him like in like 2 seconds, and then gives him advice how to fight, and then just like here's his life story where it's like you can tell that even in like when he sees an enemy in front of him, he doesn't see him as an enemy. He kind of just finds a way to make a friend, which is like, wow, that's kind of like, and all like in real life, probably if someone wouldn't do that, you probably wouldn't try to make friends with like someone who has a knife on you, you know.
Yeah.
But,
You probably take him down first.
Yeah, probably take him down. But it at least like kind of it's a nice perspective to see of like not always seeing everyone as an enemy, and you know you kind of see that the person mugs not because he's a bad person, but he mugs because he needs to afford his shit, right? Which is like kind of shows like the driving force of what drives people. Like, are people bad necessarily because they're bad people? Like probably, but also like are some people are bad because of the circumstances, right? And so like you can see that Iroh has always been more compassionate, and you can see that very much reflected when he kind of, you know, mentors Zuko, where like, you know, he sees a kid who is troubled by his father and doesn't see him as a morally bad person, but just sees someone who's good who has made bad decisions, which like I think if you're ever trying to get someone to improve, like you need someone like Uncle Iroh. Like his kind of way is just a great way of dealing with someone who maybe is quote unquote troubled. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm. And he also didn't he like kill a dragon too? He slayed a dragon.
Oh yeah, he did.
Oh, he slayed a dragon.
he
He
slayed it.
slayed
Like the last dragon or something.
Slayed.
Yeah, he
Daddy
slayed it, but he
slay.
actually saved the dragon.
Yeah, he served.
He kept the dragon hidden from the world and posed it as him slaying the dragon.
Oh.
Yeah. Then they called him the Dragon Slayer.
The dragon of the West.
The dragon of the West.
Yeah, Dragon of the West.
Mm-hmm.
West Side.
What's they give him cool names too, like the Dragon Slayer, Dragon of the West, and like, you know, Uncle.
He just looks cool as fuck, yo. Like his hair and his beard.
Mm-hmm.
He's raw as hell.
Super cool.
His
And
belly.
that one scene where he's like fighting off the Fire Nation tanks at the end, where he's just in the air and like
Oh yeah,
Put that, put
Oh.
that wall fire. Like,
yeah. I remember seeing like I haven't felt this much power in a while. He starts breathing.
yeah,
and
he
then
starts breathing fire. Yo, I'm
Mhm.
like, yo, this guy's. That's hard.
he's raw. Bro, I just came
He's
in
raw.
like
He's raw.
This guy been holding this in the whole time, bro.
came in, like big dog,
Yeah.
like.
Hey, yo, big dog.
Literally big dog.
This is another character that's kind of overshadowed quite a bit. But what are your guys' thoughts on some of the villains? So Azula.
Oh, the bitch that shoots lightning.
Yeah.
I kind of understand. Like, she's
Isn't she just
had
psychotic?
a fucked up childhood.
Supposed to be a psychopath in this series. We can actually talk about her in conjunction with her friends Mai and Ty Lee, if you guys want. Like all three of those characters.
With Azula, I kind of feel bad for her because, all of like the wrath of the Fire Lord and like all the expectations after Zuko got banished, I feel like would have been passed on to her.
Yeah.
Because Ozai is probably like, oh, Zuko's not shit. Like he's weak. You're next,
Mhm.
right? I can mold you into something that's not
That's useful.
that's useful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably where she got all of her anger. And like, I think one of the points in the question was like ambition, and we had both Zuko and Azula on there, and like, Azula's ambition was always to upstage her brother. Like, I need to prove that I am better than Zuko, because if I don't, like, maybe my dad will banish me too, right?
Yeah.
Papa doesn't love me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she succeeded in end of book 2, and like her and Zuko like returned triumphant to the Fire Nation, right?
Mhm.
Thinking that they killed
Yep.
that they killed Aang, and then by the end of book 3, where like all her friends kind of like abandoned her, like Mai Tai Lee kind of abandoned her, but she still becomes like the next Fire Lord, and she kind of goes crazy.
Yeah. She was mad.
She was mad, yeah. Like she cuts off all her hair. And then doesn't she see like her mom in the mirror or something?
Yeah. Because I think throughout the whole, like, majority of the storytelling is they see her as a competent, perfect child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Firelord Ozai has always seen people in terms of utility. He doesn't see them as people. So when he sees his own kids, either you're useful to me or you're banished, right? And even though Azula was a prodigy, the reason why Ozai like loves, quote unquote, loves Azula more is because she had lots more utility.
Yeah.
Not because she's her daughter. She's his daughter, right?
Yeah.
So like, you can see that Azula always kind of had the same values as her dad. Like, you know, people are expendable. You know, the way she kind of takes control of the Dai Li and all the like the troops, whatever, and she strikes fear into people, and so she uses fear to kind of gain control of people, right? And then now, like, she's always been in power. And then in the one pivotal moment, I know when like in that like the hot lake scene where like I think Maya like betrays her because like you know Zuko's getting
To
away.
save Zuko.
Yeah, save Zuko, and then she says straight to her face like, "I love Zuko more than I fear you," and then she like snaps.
She snaps.
She snaps because she's always been in control of everything.
Because she can't. She finds out that she can't control. Like that's the first person that she lost control of.
Yeah, and like I think that really kind of, and you can see her, and then after that scene, you can see her break of like she's a perfect child. She knows she does exactly what her father wants to do, and then now that she like doesn't have that, and also like I know like you know I know she's trying to give the true approval from her dad, and her dad makes her Fire Lord or whatever.
Yeah,
you can just see her break, right, and then it kind of brings up her mother and stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh, can I add
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
that? So like I think like the reason why Azula is such a psychopath is because of her like mommy issues, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Like from the very beginning, her mom like already knows that she's like, she's crazy. She does not have the same compassion as I do and what Zuko has. So she kind of has that neglect or like she already knows her mother's favoritism lies with Zuko because Zuko's like the sensitive one.
Yeah,
the
soft
gentle.
little boy.
Yeah, he's a mama's boy. So yeah, like, and her like saying, I don't remember the quote, but she basically told Azula that, you know, like what the hell is wrong with you? Like, or even my daughter, like, like what you're like basically not easy to love.
Like, what is wrong with this child?
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
yeah, and like basically her friends abandoning her at the end kind of like
Add
through,
fuel to the fire.
yeah, like, oh fuck, mother issues coming out.
Not
Like,
loved.
why am I abandoned again?
Ah.
I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah, because it's weird because she does everything perfectly, and so she gets the love, and I would say quotation love, approval of her father. I'd say that, and then seeing that like her friends abandoned her, and then in the mirror, like it doesn't really talk about the relationship between. Well, it does, but like it doesn't really like dive too much into the relationship about the mom and Azula, and that scene of it's really like creepy a little bit.
It is.
I was just like, no,
Mhm.
like I know you hate me, and then like the mother's like, no, I actually love you, and she throws like the comb at the
Yeah.
mirror and stuff. I was like, oh shit, like
She's
really
gone. She's gone. She's gone full cycle.
She's gone. She's gone. Yeah. But I don't know. I thought she was a wonderful villain because like she was literally like the antithesis of what Zuko was.
Yeah.
Like Zuko was. I mean, it shows like him being a lot more compassionate, a lot more gentle, a lot more sensitive, and like even in the scene where like he's in the war meeting, like not trying to sacrifice the troops to get sacrificed, but Zuko's like, I don't care. You're expendable. People are expendable. It's all about function, about utility. Kind of echoes her father, and then Zuko echoes the mother, and like it really shows that they kind of grew up with the same parents. Was it they had what's the saying? Like they had the same parents, but they weren't raised the same, or something like that. Or like
Kind of get it. I get
Yeah.
it.
same mom and father, but different parents. That's
Right.
And from what I can tell, like what you guys are explaining to me is that they have like reverse character arcs. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Zuko gets first like introduced, like you can see he's got the ugly ponytail. He's super scarred. Like he's super angry and
Yeah.
like
There's
works
lots
a
of
lot,
shame.
faces a lot of anger, is super ashamed
Very
and stuff.
angsty.
And then like like as he kind of goes on, like you see Zuko and like he grows out his hair, becomes like super sexy and like
Yeah, no, yeah, actually, yeah.
like dude, I like his character design with his long hair. I was like, why does he have that nasty ass?
I think the
ponytail?
writers were intentional. They wanted to
Yeah.
make a character that was unlikable to make him like really likable,
Yeah.
and they did a
Yeah,
good job.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he and then like once he quote unquote became like complete, like he was a lot more compassionate. He was surrounded by so many people that trusted him. And
It's a
shit
little more
like
calm
that.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more calm and like he had a lot more triumphs towards the end. Whereas like Azula, like she was super triumphant in the beginning. She was the quote unquote perfect child, and then like all of a sudden she's like once she starts like breaking, like she cuts her hair, like she gets what she wants, but like she in a sense becomes incomplete as soon as she
Yeah.
accomplishes what she wants, because it's like she kind of like realizes, oh fuck,
You can't do everything
I'm a
through.
fucking psychopath.
Yeah. And how they like, the last scene I remember from Azula is just like her, was it like
Crying.
Katara like froze her hands or something?
Yeah,
Oh
she
yeah,
chained
she
her.
And then
chained
she-
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then she started crying. I'm like, yo, like you the fall off is crazy.
Oh yeah, she was so crazy. She was chained up and she was like breathing fire through
Yeah,
her
And
mouth.
she was crying and it was like a really good voice acting cry. Like I was like, "Ooh, this is
Yeah.
it's a good cry."
Mhm.
Yeah. But is there any other characters that we haven't covered yet?
I think those are the
Cabbage
main
guy.
ones. Oh, the cabbage guy.
Cabbage guy.
Cabbage guy's
The goat.
goated, bro.
The goat.
He deserves all. He deserves his own shop.
Ooh.
Deserves everything.
Oh yeah, since I've never watched Avatar. Can you explain what Bosco is, Vince? to me?
Oh, Bosco.
yeah.
Yo, Bosco's the
Not-
goat.
The goat, not
That-
your dog, but
So
the character.
So Bosco is the Earth King's pet bear, and that's what my dog is named after.
Nice.
Oh,
The
okay.
goat.
So yeah, in season 2 you
And
get
he just
introduced-
eats. He just eats like
Like the real life Bosco.
the Earth King prepares like a whole feast for. Was it Bosco's like birthday or something, or I don't know if
It was,
like a
I think it
feast.
was, yeah, and like he
Yeah.
does a whole party, and I think the team after crashes it and whatnot.
Yeah. And then at the end, the Earth King realizes that his government's corrupt, and he just quits, and he
Yeah.
decides
Yeah.
to travel the world with his.
After
Yeah.
Aang like quote unquote dies or the fake dies, like Sokka kind of just gives an exposition of like what happened. Like yeah, like we found a boat, we kidnapped it, and like we've been disguising Fire Nation. What about the Earth King? Yeah, he kind of just quit, and now he's traveling the world as like with his bear. And I'm like,
Respect.
I was like, dude, this guy was a king, and he's like, I don't care, I'm free. Because I know they tried to show a part in the scene where he never take public transit ever.
Mhm.
So they're trying to show like the difference between the working class and the ruling class. So the king, basically, and like he didn't know about the war because he was so detached from.
Yeah.
And like also the saying like there's no war in Ba Sing Se, right? Where
Yeah.
Mm.
no one talks about it, and even the king is unaware because like the king is on his high money throw, separated from society or his actual society. He's ruling. And he's more just a puppet. But I don't know. I thought that scene was pretty cool. How like, and it also kind of shows a commentation of like a little bit of a politics where like there's some kings and queens where they're not really
They're just
useful.
figurheads.
They're just figureheads, and like
And they
people
don't understand
doing the-
regular people.
doing the dirty work while the kings and queens are just there to smile and look like
Wave.
Yeah, smile and wave boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any other things that like struck you on the show that you really liked about the show?
I really liked how Uncle Iroh is able to get into the spirit world.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's kind of connected to it in some ways.
That was revealed in Legend of Korra, right?
No, it was also revealed in the series, like the Aang series.
Okay.
Yeah, because he saw Aang in the spirit world, and he was like flying, and he was just like, "Oh wait,
Oh
what?"
yeah, they foreshadowed it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he was said like he was. I don't know what they were trying. I part of trying to imply he's a really good person, like or
Mhm.
like very spiritual.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember. I know, like, not to spoil Legend of Korra, but there's a scene where like I think he talks to Korra, right? And like I was like, when they brought him back, I was like, oh fuck, oh fuck, the king is back, the king is back,
The goat.
Yeah. You have any highlights that you liked about the? Like, what really spoke to you? Like, what really made the show good for you, Vince?
I don't know. It's just like these kids that just travel the world and they're. I was like I was watching it and thinking like because these kids are like the same age when I was watching. I was like, yo, I want to do that. I want to.
I want an adventure.
I want to ride on a flying bison. I want to learn how to earth bend, fire bend, whatever that shit. Like,
You're in front of the mirror, like spitting water, splashing the water. Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool. I think like seeing the story play out through like people that were the same age as me. I think that was pretty cool.
And didn't Avatar
It
run?
made the story like more relatable.
And didn't Avatar run for a long time? So like
3 seasons.
It kind of grew with its audience too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It did, yeah.
It did, and even when like Legend of Korra came out, like everyone was of age, kind of the characters. They really like kind of planned out.
That's true. That's true.
I think one thing I really liked about the show, one thing I like to talk about is like the male characters in the story are not just violent.
Yeah.
Well, of course not as
Very
like Ozai, but
complex.
the protagonist, yeah, because like, I was talking to Karen about this. How a lot of times in like media when they write male characters, and I think the writers are also like there were 3 writers, they're all male as well, right?
Mhm.
Where like we're talking about story writing, where like a lot of times you could tell the difference between when a woman writes a male character and a male writes a male character. With a woman writes a male character, we're like a lot dynamic, and then the male writers usually write male characters just violent,
Man.
you know, men, just guns, like.
Violent, courage,
And a lot of times they kind of write in a certain way where they're like the only 2 emotions they express is either anger or apathy, and like I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a good example, but like like some kind of like live action film.
like most superheroes.
So most superhero movies,
yeah.
or just even like those like action movies or whatever, just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
Like
just
any Michael Bay movie.
no
The Michael Bay
just all like violence and whatnot, and like seeing like characters that male characters are not like that, which was a breath of fresh air, because I'm just like, okay, like it seems like there is this expectation, and even kind of writing characters like Katara as well, and obviously like I'm not a woman, so I can't really speak on behalf of this perfectly, but seeing a character that's like, okay, like every time she was like emotional, all the other characters would use that against her, like, oh, you're a woman, therefore you're emotional, and her not letting that back down and still kind of having grit to keep going and to like say like I don't give, like, just to become a good character, fleshed out character. It didn't really take advantage of any like Mary Sue, so they didn't make Katara perfect. They didn't make like the male characters perfect. They made every character in a story with a flaw, and they didn't write the characters how like they want people to act. They write the characters how people would actually respond
Yeah.
to like the ravages of war, losing a parent, right? It showed grief, it showed sadness, it showed redemption, and I think, I don't know, to me, like that was what made the show really good for me, because it's like, I don't know, when there's like, I don't know, death in like a superhero movie, like, yeah, like the main characters get sad, but then they're like, oh, I'm gonna grab my hammer and beat the shit out of someone, right?
There's just rain.
It's just like anger, and so I don't know, seeing characters like Aang and Zuko, to me, I thought was a breath of fresh air.
Actually take time to like process their emotions.
Yeah,
And
to me, it
stuff.
was just a breath of fresh air. Yeah, for story writing. Yeah.
Jason's laptop is dying, so I guess we're gonna
It's a good time to end.
start to close out the episode. Hope you guys like the episode, and yeah, it's a little bit different. We're talking about something that
It's
we all
fun.
Mental health.
really loved,
Yeah, yeah.
and
like
trying to relate to the characters in one of our favorite shows, Avatar: The Way of Water by M. Night Shyamalan.
Directed by Michael Bay.
Ong.
Yeah, I don't think.
Explosion.
Yeah, well, I guess hoping that the next content from Avatar is good. Yeah,
Yeah, they're making a whole ass universe, which is
Right.
cool.
like a Marvel Cinematic Universe, but for after Aang.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Michael Bay is gonna, or like John Cena's gonna come in.
John Cena. I think they're
John
making,
Cena's gonna play Sokka.
they're making a new series, like the next Avatar after Korra.
Oh yeah,
I think
remember
that's part of
In
like
the cycle, it's a Earthbender.
So
then,
it's
right?
fire, air, water, earth. That's
Yeah.
the order.
Yeah. So it'll be an Earthbender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But
Pretty
my
cool.
computer's gonna die soon,
Earth.
so I'll see you guys. We'll see you guys later. Have a
Peace
great
out.
Yeah. See you guys
Evening.
next time.
morning. Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.